In this lesson, we'll look at when to use which formula for consumer finance. As you know, we have three different formulas. We have the four actually. We have the interest formula for simple interest, and we also have the amount formula for the whole value of the investment or loan. We have our compound interest formula for compound problems. And then if we have equal payments, we use our TVM solver. Okay, so there are certain words and indicators in a question that will help you figure out which problem to use. So I'm not going to actually do the calculations in this lesson. I'm just going to show you which formula you will be using. So if we're looking at the first example, Angela takes a simple interest loan of $850 at 6% per annum for 2 years. How much will she ultimately pay back? So biggest indicator is if it says simple interest, you're using one of these two formulas. If it says simple interest, you're using simple interest. Okay? And in this case, it says how much will she ultimately pay back at the end of the loan, so we know that's our amount. So we're going to be using, the A equals P plus PRT formula. Okay, so again, simple interest means if it says simple interest, you know you're using simple interest. It's just a matter of figuring out, are you only calculating the interest or are you calculating the value of the entire loan? So if it says how much will you ultimately pay back, then that's the entire loan. All right, Ryan has $750 to invest. He's going to leave the money in a plan that pays 8% interest compounded semi-annually. Okay, so if you see compounded, then we know it's not simple interest, but it could be TVM solver, or it could be our compound interest formula. Okay, and the difference between TVM solver and the compound interest formula is if there are regular payments, so payments are being made over on a regular basis, then we're going to use the TVM solver. If it's just a once-off, then we use the compound interest formula. So if we're looking here, Ryan has $750 to invest. He's going to leave the money in a plan that pays 8% interest compounded, so we know it's not simple interest. If the money stays in the plan for 3 years, how much money will he have in the plan? So this is just a case, if the money just stays in the plan, he's not making extra payments, he's not making regular payments, then we know we're using our compound interest formula, which is just P1 plus R over N times T. Okay? Looking at number 3, the bank is prepared to offer Yoshi a car loan at 11% compounded. So again, we know we're not using simple interest. If she can make monthly payments of $400 over 5 years. So the key is here, monthly payments, there's a regular payment being made, so we're going to be using the TVM solver. So in the next one, every month Reno is going to deposit $50 right away. We know that's a monthly payment, and we see the word compounded. So if it's every month that they're depositing, we're going to be using the TVM solver. Okay. Number 5, you deposit $800 in a savings account at 5% compounded monthly. So that's going to either be TVM solver or the compound interest formula. If you leave in the account for 4 years, how much would you have after that period? So you're just leaving it in the account. You're not making regular payments. So we're using our compound interest formula. Number 6, Kiana initially deposits $300 into a fund that pays 6% interest compounded semi-annually. So we know either TVM solver or compound interest formula. She also deposits an additional $70 into the fund at the end of each month. So that's regular payments are going into that fund. So TVM solver. Tom invests $650 for 4 years at 7% annum simple interest. So we know it's a simple interest formula. Find the future value. So we know that's our A formula equals P plus PRT. Okay, again, simple interest, tells us it's a simple interest, and then it asks for the future value. If it asked just for the interest, that would have just been interest equals PRT. Okay? But that wasn't the case in that question. Marcus needs to purchase new windows for his cottage. The windows will cost $2,800. He decides to use his line of credit that charges 5% compounded. So we know TVM solver or compound interest formula. If he wants to pay off the line of credit by making equal monthly payments, okay, we know we're using TVM solver. And then we just gather the information from here to enter into the TVM solver. All right, so that's the key. Is the keywords to look for are either simple interest, and you're going to be using one of these two formulas. And if you see compounded in there, then you're either going to be using the TVM solver or the compound interest formula. And the way you know the difference there is you use the TVM solver if there are regular payments, either into an investment or on a loan. If you have questions, see your instructor.